Welcome to Technotips Learning, and here I am with a new video on conditional access policies in Microsoft Entra ID. My last video was on multi-factor authentication, how multi-factor authentication works, and about the security default. So whenever you onboard, whenever you get Microsoft Entra ID, it follows the principle of security by default. So the first thing that we discussed in multi-factor authentication is you get multi-factor authentication by default. Now, the multi-factor authentication, it might be needed for some account, it might not be needed for some accounts. That is the reason we create, there are multiple reasons to create conditional access policies. You want a security control that you can fully control. So we will proceed with the video. And in this video, we will discuss about what is conditional access and why do we need conditional access, license requirements, and then we will go into creating a demo account and see what we can do with the account, and we will understand what if analysis, and we will create some more conditional access. Then after we create conditional access, we will disable understand the security defaults, and we will disable security defaults. And then we will create one user account and we will test all the scenarios. That is what we are going to do in this video. So stay tuned. This video might get long, but as far as what research I have done, this video is going to be informational and will help you in understanding the Microsoft Entra ID better, identity and access management better. If you are interested in learning, subscribe to the channel. Another series that I'm working on is Microsoft Exchange Online, Microsoft Office 365. You want to learn, so you can go through my channel. I will put the link of the series in description, and I'm creating videos on that as well. So let us begin with this video, and the first topic that we will talk about is what is conditional access. All right, so the first question, what is conditional access in Microsoft Entra ID? In Entra ID, like the name suggests, conditional access. So it will work, definitely it will work based on conditions. Based on conditions that you define, it will provide the access to a user or a security principal to access the company resources, your organization resources. So in Entra ID, conditional access is a zero trust policy engine. So zero trust is like you do not trust anyone before they provide you the complete credential, before they fulfill a certain condition. That uses if then statement. If is the condition. If a user is providing the correct credentials, then you allow him to access the resource. If the user is fulfilling certain conditions, then only you need to allow the access. That is what if then statements. To enforce access control by evaluating multiple real-time security signals, including users, devices, location, and app. So what does this mean? Security signals. There are multiple services provided by Microsoft, and if you see like what are the signals, so from where it gets the signals. Now there are devices. In the description we talked about devices. So devices are managed through endpoint protection. Your account is managed by Entra ID. Your device will tell the location, the user location, the device location. So all these things combine and send signals. Based on that signal, Microsoft Entra ID will assign you the policies, and based on those signals, the restriction, the access, allow or block will be given to you. So this is again access management, how you provide access. Suppose there is one device and you have defined a conditional policy that a device should not access your company resources if it is not compliant. So where do you set the compliance? Device compliant policy. It is in endpoint protection, Microsoft Intune. So Microsoft Intune will send a signal that this device is not compliant. If the device is not compliant, it will not provide you access. Where do you set this? You set this in conditional access. User and location. Suppose you have blocked a location in your Entra ID. You have defined a conditional access policy that from this location or from this network, somebody should not access a resource. Then your Entra ID will send a signal to conditional access policy. Application real-time risk. Real-time risk is like somebody is trying to access, but he is not a registered user, or he is not fulfilling a condition like security registration. He has not registered for multi-factor authentication, or this user is, so if you create a risky user policy, if this user is logging, like a logging is detected with this user account, which is changing the location very fast. So based on this, there will be a risk on the account, right? So this will send a signal, and based on this signal, this is particular, this screenshot is from Microsoft. This is particularly for require MFA, but based on these signals and conditions, either the access will be allowed or the access will be blocked, and then the user or the account can access the company resources, apps, and data. Hope this is clear. What are signals? And based on these signals, how the conditional access policy works. So we will, when we do a demo, when we create the account, and when we create the conditional access policy, we will talk about this signal and if then engine that we discussed last. All right, so let us read it again. In Entra ID, conditional access is a zero trust policy engine that uses if then statement to enforce access controls by evaluating multiple real-time security signals, including users, devices, and location and apps. So this we have discussed already, to determine whether to grant, block, or require additional steps. Either it will grant, it will block, or require additional steps that we set up when we create the conditional access policies, such as multi-factor authentication before granting access to the resource. Now, it helps organization balance productivity with security by ensuring the right people have access to right resources under the right conditions. All right. So it secures your organization and creates a balance between security and productivity. So sometimes your security will tell you to block everything, So if there is the one scenario that we will talk about is email accounts, service accounts. Sometimes you configure applications to send, like ERP applications or CRM applications or even PowerShell code, to send emails automatically. Now, with security default, what will happen is it will need multi-factor authentication. But the applications which are running in the background, which are configured to send emails, they will not be able to deliver the emails because they will not be asking for multi-factor or Microsoft Authenticator approval. So they will not fulfill the condition. Now, that is one solution, that you send email through your Microsoft 365 account. Other solution we have discussed is Azure Communication Services. I will put the link in the description, how to send emails using Azure Communication Services. That is the complete configuration I provided you there. Moreover, direct send is another option. So Graph API is another option. So there are multiple options, but to demonstrate conditional access policies, I have taken this scenario. So why do we use conditional access policies? We use conditional access primarily to enhance security by ensuring that only authorized and authenticated users can access organizational resources under specific conditions. It improves security by dynamically evaluating factors such as user identity, device health, location, and risk level before granting access, thereby reducing the risk of unauthorized access and potential data breaches. Additional additional reason for using conditional access include improving regulatory compliance by enforcing consistent and auditable access controls, automating and simplifying access management process to reduce IT workload, and restricting certain activities based on risk contacts, and providing a better balance between security and user experience by requiring additional verification only when necessary. It also supports modern security framework like Zero Trust, where continuous verification minimizes insider threats and adapts to evolving risk dynamically. So this is a lot of statement, and we need to understand why do we use conditional access policy. So if I let you go through this statement, you can understand, but let me simplify this. Based on the condition, the security default provides the default security what is necessary for your organization. Sometimes it is more restrictive, it is less restrictive, or it does not fulfill all the conditions of your organization. Like one example is sending the email through PowerShell, which cannot work when multi-factor authentication is enabled by default. Device health, it does not define like if you have a registered device or not. You can use any device to access, but you want to block. Another example we can take is you want your users to access emails only through authorized applications. There are multiple SMTP or email clients which can send and receive emails, where you can configure your emails. But you can create a conditional access policy where you disable some of the application or use only authorized application. You can define through conditional access policy that you cannot access the email through browser. Okay, so if you are creating a conditional access policy like this, anybody tries to access your emails through browser or Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome, it will not work for them. So this is how you restrict or allow through conditional access policies. It will help in reducing the IT workload because any security incident happens, then there are multiple teams collaborating, working day and night to fix it. However, if your security is well planned, well managed, you do not have to work through all this. And it supports the modern security framework, which is zero trust, that you do not trust anyone till the time he fulfills your conditions. And these conditional access policies, these are auditable. How you can audit it, we will see in the demo part. The third that we wanted to discuss is licensing for creating conditional access. Free tier allows, but we are not working on free tiers. So either you need Entra ID P1 or Entra ID P2. How you can get that? Entra ID P1, P2. Now suppose you need a bundle or you need enterprise plan. So which plan you need to take? All these things are already discussed in another video. I will share you the link in the description as well. Understanding Microsoft licenses. So you can go through them and you can understand. So we already talked about security defaults. Like security default is something which is enabled by default when you get Entra ID. Let's take a look at it. So we will first go admin.microsoft.com, or you can go to entra.microsoft.com. But to access any admin center, you go to admin.microsoft.com, you click on show all, and here you see identity. When you click on it, it will take you to entra.microsoft.com, which is identity. The first thing is we will check the security defaults. So we will go to overview, we will go to properties, and if you scroll down, your organization is protected by security defaults. If you click on manage security defaults, you have got an option to enable and disable. Before you have created sufficient, or I would say before you have created your conditional access policies, it is not recommended to disable the security default. We will disable the security default, but before doing this, we will create conditional access policies. So, three primary conditional access policies that we need to create before we disable security default. So, with this demo, I will also tell you how to create the conditional access policies. So, three primary conditional access before disabling security defaults. Before disabling security default in Microsoft Entra ID, it is critical to have primary conditional access policies in place to maintain security posture. Use these. So these conditional access policies we will create. Now, what are these three policies? First policy is require multi-factor authentication for all users, which is require MFA for all users. This policy mandates multi-factor authentication for all users to increase security and help prevent account compromises. Require multi-factor authentication for admins. Now, why do we need this? Because when we create this, we can create an exclusion from here. But for admins, we do not want any exclusion. So suppose everybody is using multi-factor authentication, and if you exclude one account from the conditional access, that account would not need multi-factor authentication to be set up to access your resources, but provided that excluded account should not, must not have any admin privilege. If it has any admin privilege, anybody can get, crack your password, brute force your account, and without multi-factor authentication, they can easily get inside your resources, get inside your organization management without multi-factor authentication. The third is block legacy authentication. This policy blocks outdated and less secure authentication protocol that are commonly exploited in attacks. So legacy authentication are outdated authentication protocols. So with these conditional access policy or block legacy authentication, you can block it. Additionally, some organizations include a policy to restrict or require MFA for management access to Azure resources as well. So this policy is required, but for now we will concentrate on these three policies, and we will see a demo how to create conditional access policies in Entra ID. So I have this Entra ID open. Let us start it again because I showed you the security defaults in this. Let us close this, and again you go to admin.microsoft.com. I'm already there. Go to show all and you go to identity. So you have the Entra ID open. Scroll down and on the left hand side you see conditional access here. Click on conditional access. Go to policies. Currently there are no policies configured, so we will create our first policy, which is require multi-factor authentication for all users. Now there are two options, new policies and new policy from template. If you click on new policy, it will give you a clean slate where you can configure the conditional access policy. But for now, if you let us see new policy from template, if you go to template, you have these templates already there. So require multi-factor authentication for admins, that is one that we will need later, and require multi-factor authentication for all users. So you can go in any way because currently the security default is enabled. So your account is already, your organization is already secured with multi-factor authentication. So nothing to worry about it here. So, and the third one is block legacy authentication, this one. So we have to create these three policies. Let us look at these one by one. So the first policy is require multi-factor authentication for all users. So if you click on it, you can view the settings here from here. So basic is template scenario, secure foundation, zero trust. These are the template scenarios. So where are these? These are located right here. Secure foundation. So this template belongs to this zone. Secure zero trust, it is here, and remote work. All these three are the template scenarios and will protect the users here. Template name is require multi-factor authentication for all users. Now included all users, excluded current user, because I am creating the conditional access policy. We will look into this option very now. Excluded roles, directory synchronization accounts, cloud apps for action, cloud apps, all apps. So okay, we will look into this in detail. Now here you have an option for download JSON file. This JSON file you can open up with Notepad. So if you right click and open with Notepad, this is how it will come. A person who understands so this JSON file, they can modify it, but this is time taking. We This is a simple conditional access rule. So you modify the file. You After you make changes, you can go to conditional access policies and upload policy file. Select a file which would be in JSON format. Mm, okay, so we'll upload the same file. All right, policy state off, and you click on review plus create. So this is how it is creating. So we will go and create new policy from template, require multi-factor authentication for all users, and here we click on next. Now we will understand this conditional access policy. Now the policy name is require multi-factor authentication for all users. So name that I want to choose is demo1. And for now, when you create a conditional access policy, there are three options: off, on, and report only. If you turn it on right away, it will be in effect, but we first need to test this conditional access. We'll keep it report only. Template name, it is using a template, require multi-factor authentication for all users. So currently assignments are users group, all users, current user, excluded directory synchronization account. We will discuss it. We will first hit create. So it is creating a clone of the conditional access policy, require multi-factor authentication for all users with the name that we suggested. Now we go to conditional access again and go to policies. It is still in process. Now successfully created the policy. I clicked it incorrectly. Let us see deleted policies. I created some policies. And let us see. Okay. So require multi-factor authentication for all users. Demo 1 is here. It is report only. We will click on it to edit the settings. Now, now the name is require multi-factor authentication for all users. Demo 1. Assignment users. All users included, specific users excluded. So if you click on this, so you need to include all users. You need to So all users will need, understand, if you include all users, so all users will need multi-factor authentication to sign in. But unlike security defaults, you have an option to exclude. Let us see this. So you click on exclude. You can exclude users or groups, directory roles. So what are these? So exclude guest or external users. You should not allow guest or external users to access your resources without multi-factor authentication. Now suppose you create a meeting with some other organization, or you share a document which is online with some other external B2B customer, or anybody who is not in your organization. To access that resource, the user will have to configure multi-factor authentication. That is a security posture that any external users you are communicating with should use multi-factor authentication to access your resources. So it gives you the option, but you do not, like my opinion, you do not allow external users to access your resources without multi-factor authentication. So you do not add them to exclusion. Second option is directory roles. Now, what these directory roles are. So suppose you have an on-prem AD and you have an Entra ID. I'm just creating. And you have enabled sync between on-prem AD and Entra ID. So the IDs are syncing. So how these IDs are syncing, if you go to my video on syncing the identities, I'll put the, I do not remember the actual title of the video, but I'll put in description and you can watch it there. So what acts in between? In between, there is a user account that acts. It will take the identities from here and send the changes here, or it will take it from here and send it here. To do that, to do this, this account should have a directory synchronization role. If you enforce multi-factor authentication on this, if you exclude, if you remove the exclude mark from here, the sync will stop. So sometimes organizations will say like we implemented conditional access policies and we see like the IDs are not syncing anymore. It will impact access to the users to access any cloud application. Okay, so if the identities are not syncing, that will become an issue. So these directory roles should be excluded always from multi-factor authentication. Now in security defaults, they are already excluded because when I configured the sync, the hybrid sync, it automatically created a directory synchronization role and the synchronization was working. But we are turning off the but we will turn off the directory synchronization. We will turn off the security default. In that case, you need to keep in mind that you do not include, you always exclude this directory synchronization role from these conditional access policies. And in future, if you want to exclude users, you create a service account and you want to exclude it from directory synchronization, from this conditional access, you should keep it checked. And you can see this is the account I'm using. It is a global admin account and it is excluded from this conditional access policies because I am creating it. If I do not exclude myself and turn this on, it will result in locking my account itself. So include, exclude, we understood it here. Now target resources, all resources, formerly it was already earlier known as all cloud apps. So we will include all the applications for the best practice. Network, this is a new addition. So exclude, include, right? You have, if you configure it, leave it configured as no. It will not impact, it will not work. So we do not want, for now at least, we do not want any of the user to be restricted based on the network they are using. That is the beauty of online applications. So you go to outlook.office365.com and you can access it, the emails, right? If you block the network, then they will not be able to access. So for now, do not be that restrictive. conditions. Now these are the conditions. Based on what conditions they will be blocked. User risk. User risk is the likelihood that a user account is compromised. How you define that a user account is compromised? You need to create another conditional access policy. You need to create location based risk. You need to create sign in risk. So all these three, user risk, sign in risk, and insider risk. For this, you need to configure your Defender, Microsoft Defender for Identity, which will send a signal to this conditional access policy. Signals we have discussed earlier. Now, they call for another conditional access, they call for extra configuration, but this is the basic configuration that we are doing here. To users, all users require multi-factor authentication. No need to change these. Device platforms, configure no. If you select yes, any device, if the user is using any device, you can include, exclude Android, iOS, but for now we want, this is multi-factor authentication, we want everyone to follow this. Location, we'll click on done. Location not configured, leave it for now not configured. Client application, configure. We talked about browser, mobile, and other mobile applications and other desktop clients. Exchange, active sync clients, and other clients. When in uh, when in the series for Office 365 and Exchange Online, we will discuss what active sync and what these things are. So that does not require to be configured for now. Okay, we will test it. So don't worry. Client apps, filter for devices, authentication flows. We do not need to configure all this for this basic multi-factor authentication rule. Now, till here, when we are discussing it, let me clean it up. So, till here, what we are defining is the if part. If we discussed if then engine, right? So this is the if part. Now we will define access controls and other thing. This part is then part. Okay. Now if then condition, in conditional access we understand. So now let us go into access controls and we will do one control. Now the control says block access or grant access. So if you select block access, it will block the access completely. If you want to grant the condition, then you need to select require multi-factor authentication. So it says consider testing the new require authentication strength. So this is a like by default checked, and it says the require authentication is strength cannot be used with required multi-factor authentication. So when we discuss the security part in detail, we will look into require authentication strength, like what is the authentication strength. But the first thing, we will grant access only if to grant access it requires multi-factor authentication. We will select this. Require device to be marked as compliant. We will not check this because we have not set up the Intune. Require Microsoft Entra hybrid joint devices. We will not select this because we do not have our endpoint management system in place. So I'm planning to create a video on that as well. However, let me complete the first part, which is the identity and access management and require app protection policy protected apps, and require approved client app. We cannot change it, right? Why we cannot change it? Device must use approved. See the list of approved client apps. This is These are the approved client applications, but it does not allow you to change. Require password change. No, every time you cannot grant access on require password change. For multiple controls, require all the selected controls. No, require one of the selected controls. So only control that we are putting right now is require multi-factor authentication. Now, when you deep dive, so this is an introduction to conditional access policy. This is the first policy we are creating. You can create multiple policies. There are different conditional access policies that you can use. But for now, let us keep it simple. Click select session. You do not need to configure this. Sign in frequency, like use app enforce restrictions because it is currently for Office 365. Use conditional app control, access app control, silent frequency, persistent browser session. We do not need to do all this for now. And we will keep this conditional access policy to report only, and because any user will be blocked right away if you turn it on. So we click on save, and we will quickly move to our second policy, which is require multi-factor authentication for admins. So we will go ahead and create require multi-factor authentication for admins demo 1, and we'll click on create. So you understand the basics. I'm going fast on this. Okay, so we'll wait, refresh, and it should come now. Require multi-factor authentication for admins demo 1. We'll click on it to edit. Okay, it is just created. That is another reason. Okay, require multi-factor authentication for admins demo 1. Specific users and specific users excluded. Included is we do not include all users here. Select users and groups and directory roles. So all the administrator, so Windows 365 administrator, wherever we see administrator, we will put this conditional access policy. Teams telephony, Teams device, administrator. All right, so AI administrator, application developer, yes, we need attack payload, author, attack, everywhere we need to implement this policy. That is the best practice as per my understanding. Any administrator that we create should not be able to access without multi-factor authentication. Leave device users. There are so many edge administrator, exchange, recipient, anywhere where users can view. So guest inviter, guest user, hybrid, identity, insight analyst, anyone who is trying to access any feature where they can administer things, they will need multi-factor authentication. So license administrator also needs knowledge manager. So all these roles will need multi-factor authentication. Because multi-factor authentication is the basic requirement for security, we will select all administrators. Anybody can read or change. User, no. We have only deselected user and device user. Let us go and select exclude directory roles. We will not exclude here directory roles. And this account we will keep because this is my account. So we will keep it there. Target resources, all cloud apps. Conditions, 0 selected. Grant, we will grant one access. Require multi-factor authentication. We will select and we will click on save. Third important conditional access is block legacy authentication. So block legacy authentication, click on review plus create, and we will name it similarly demo1, and we'll click create. Now refresh, it will take some time. No, it has not come up yet. Block legacy authentication demo1. All users exclude this account, include all users, and grant is block access and it is set to report only. So there are block access, it will block access, and we do not need to change anything here. It is by default configured. Not network, we do not need to configure because it is already blocking all the legacy authentication methods. So we have the three important conditional access policies already created that we discussed here. Now we will go ahead and see what if analysis. We'll do a what if analysis. It is very important to understand what if analysis when you are troubleshooting an account issue, and suppose you are troubleshooting a mail delivery feature which is not working, or any user feature which is not working, any user is not able to sign in. So you will have to use what if analysis. So let us see what is what if analysis. So what if analysis in conditional access is a simulation tool that helps administrators understand how conditional access policies affect a specific user sign in and access. So with what if analysis, we can see what conditional access policy is applied on a user account and where we need to make changes. So let us go ahead and create a demo user account and do a what if analysis. To create a user account, you go to users in Entra Admin Center and new user, create a new user, and we will create like conditional access demo1 at bycus.com, and this password we will copy and we will simply create a new user, basic, next. No, basic is missing something. Okay, display name I missed. Conditional access demo. Again, copy the password and click on create. It is all okay. We will create a user. We'll copy the password. All right. So you can see conditional access demo account is there live. We will copy this account as well. Never mind, I will delete the user. I'll change the password and delete the user account because I'm exposing the password to you. So you go ahead and so this account we need to simulate and see how conditional access policies are working on this account. So we'll go to conditional access and we'll go to policies, and here you can see what if is there, right? So users, where we are doing this assessment on user, so we'll click on edit user, and this is the account conditional access demo we selected. Target type is cloud apps. Now select cloud apps, so we can select any of the applications here. Office 365 Office portal, okay, or we can select one more, Office 365 Exchange Online. We'll click on select. So Office 365 Exchange Online is selected. Device platform is any device. We'll select Windows. Client apps, browser. Let us select browser for now. And these are the mandatory fields. So we will run what if analysis on this account. So you see, require multi-factor authentication for all users is applied as report only. So as soon as we turn on this conditional access policy, this will ask user to provide multi-factor authentication. Now the question is and policies that will not apply: require multi-factor authentication for admins, demo 1, and block legacy authentication will not apply on this. Now why it does not apply, we need to see, this is assessment. So block legacy authentication control, why it will not apply? It says reason why this policy will not apply: because this policy is on users and groups, and this policy is on client app. So this block legacy authentication is for applications. So all resources legacy authentication is blocked. Okay, so if this user is trying to access cloud apps, so we will see. So we'll go back to what if analysis and we will select another cloud app, and we'll select exchange online protection. We'll select this and we will run the what if analysis again. So policies that will apply, it is require multi-factor authentication only. Policies that will not apply is require multi-factor authentication for admins and block legacy authentication because it is on client app. Now go to this account. So you go to users. So this is the conditional access demo user, and we will assign roles to this user, and we will go to currently there is no assigned role, so we'll add an assignment, and it is loading. Select a role and we will select AI administrator, and we'll click on next, assign. All right, now this account is now has administrative role, AI administrator. So It will take some time for assigned roles to come. Eligible assignment, AI, no, we'll go to active assignments and add AI administrator. Scope is directory. Click on next and change it to active assignment. This user is for AI admins. Okay, and we click on assign. Now we will see it under when we discuss PIM, like on time access management, just in time access management, or when it is required, privileged identity manager. We'll discuss this eligible and active assignments in detail. So now this user is an active AI administrator. Now what happens if I do the what if analysis again? So we'll do the what if analysis again on this account, and users is this, and cloud apps, select one cloud apps. So Microsoft, any for now we can select any, and Android and browser, sorry, Windows and browser, let us select and click on run what if. So we see as soon as we added this account to with an administrative role, it require multi-factor authentication for admins, right? So these policies are working. Require multi-factor authentication is working. Require multi-factor authentication for admins, demo 1 is working. Now what you need to do in order to allow this user not to use multi-factor authentication, so you'll go to policies, and you never you never exclude this account. If the account has admin privilege, you never exclude this account from uh, this policy, which is admins. Require multi-factor authentication for admins. For all users, you can remove it. So we will go, and here we see all users and specific users excluded. So you do exclude users and groups. One user is selected, so you select conditional access demo and click on select. So now this, once we save it, we will do the what if analysis again, and let us see what we need to do in this case. So we will go to conditional access, policies, and we will do a what if analysis again on this account. So we'll go to edit users. We'll go conditional access demo, select target resources, select one cloud app. Uh, any app we can select for now. Office 365 portal. We'll click on select. So you need to select the application where user is trying to log in and where user is requesting to log in. So now if we run what if analysis, now you can see policies that will not apply is multi-factor authentication for all users demo 1 because we have excluded this user. Policies that will apply is require multi-factor authentication for admins demo 1. So now you understand. See, this is what I am giving this to you in video, but actual implementation, it depends upon the organization requirement, your security requirements, so you need to understand it better. Now we will create another user account with a non-admin role. Let me delete both these accounts because password is already exposed. Now, now we have conditional access policy in place. The first thing that we do, we go ahead and turn on this conditional access policies. So repo will go to conditional policies, and we will turn on these conditional access policies. So we'll turn it on. So it says security defaults must be disabled to enable conditional access policies. So we need to enable these conditional access policies, we need to go ahead and disable the security default. So we'll go to overview and we will go to properties, and in properties we'll scroll down and manage security defaults. We go ahead and turn it disabled. My organization, so it says to disable you have to select one option. My organization is planning to use conditional access. Click on save and click on disable. Once it is disabled, you quickly go to conditional access, policies, block legacy authentication. You turn it on now and you click save. So now it is turned on. You can see the status. If you go here and turn it on, and you go here, the third one, and turn it on. All right. So now state is on for all these three conditional access policies. All right, so we are good with conditional access policy. Multi-factor authentication for admins and require multi-factor authentication for all users and block legacy authentication. Now we will go ahead and final demo is we will go ahead and create one account and try to log in. First we will exclude that account and try to log into Microsoft 365 and see whether it needs multi-factor authentication or not. This is done for the service accounts. So we will go to users, all users, will create a new user. We will create a new user is as because I want to create another video. Email sender1 at byju's.com. Email sender1 is the account. Copy the password and review plus create. Now this password I'll not show you. Okay. Now assignments. See, this assignment is like I can add a role here, but I will send an email through this, so we will not include in any of the admin roles. Review, we will go to review plus create. It is simple. We will create the account. And if you are till here in this video, I'll tell you how you can manage these accounts. So this is the email account. Now the first thing is we'll copy this account, we'll go to conditional access and policies and require multi-factor authentication for admins. It is not an admin account, we do not need to do anything here, and require multi-factor authentication for all users. Demo 1, you click on it and exclude this account from multi-factor authentication for email sender 1 and click on save. Now, better you go to what if analysis and see if that is applied. So you go ahead and select this account, cloud apps. So we will do Office 365, Microsoft 365 portal. We'll click on next and we'll go to Windows and we will go to browser and run the what if. Now let us see what policies will apply to this. So there is no policy which is getting applied. Policies that will not apply. All the policies, three policies I have, all these three policies will not apply. Now I have the user ID and password. We have excluded this account from multi-factor authentication. If you have seen my last video, so you know how the multi-factor authentication appears. It will ask you to do an authenticator setup. So we will go to not outlook.office365.com because we have not assigned license to this account, but let us see if we go, and we will put this account here, email user spike is one, and we will put the password, sign in, and current password is this, and new password I'm setting it up, new password, confirm password, sign in, and it says stay signed in, and click on yes. It takes you to the Office 365 portal. Now here you can see like we have not assigned the license, that is why the error, but it went in. So if you want to go office.microsoft.com, it will take you, you'll click on sign in, and let us see, email sender one, and it did not ask for multi-factor authentication. It took some time because across all the systems it takes some times to understand if this account is excluded, included. It takes some time. I'm trying it very fast. That is the reason this is this gave you one time prompt. But you see I have not set up any multi-factor authentication, and still it is able to log in. Now my next video will be sending emails through PowerShell in my Office 365 series, as well as I will include the same video in this series as well. How do we send emails through PowerShell if you have an account in Microsoft 365, from where you need to exclude those accounts, and how do you work with PowerShell to send emails, or ERP application or CRM application. Stay tuned, subscribe if this video gave you some knowledge. Hope that was we covered all the topics that I started. Yes, all right. Thank you and have a nice day.